Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jets, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight. White, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back for another video. We have the Week 3 preview of the New York Jets hosting the New England Patriots coming your way. But before we get into that, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. If so, much appreciated. Like the video if you've actually liked it. And also you could follow me on both X and Instagram at Turn Up the Jets, all one word. I am active on both of those social media platforms. Forgot to mention, as always, Joe Skirto here, your host, aka Turn Up the Jets. And yes, indeed, we have the Week 3 matchup of the 1-1 New York Jets and the 0-2 New England Patriots. Let's not sugarcoat this. We all know that the Jets have lost 14 consecutive games against New England, dating all the way back to that magical 2015 season where Ryan Fitzpatrick threw a walk-off touchdown to Eric Decker in the right corner of the end zone. I was also in attendance of that game to defeat the Pats. That was the last time that they have won. That was a very long time ago. That was in almost, 8 years ago. It's time for the Jets to sack up and beat New England and just erase this narrative that the Jets can't beat the Patriots. The Jets stink in division play. If they can go out there, beat the Patriots and be 2-1, and especially 2-0 in the division, there's a lot of momentum heading their way. Even though they're playing the Chiefs the following week, there's still a ton of momentum that would come the Jets' way if they're able to pull this off. It's obvious, though. Zach Wilson has struggled mightily against this New England Patriots team over his first 2 years. He's 0-4 with a whopping 7 interceptions. And we all know his last game that he played against the Patriots led to his benching, led to him not taking the blame, said he wasn't to blame of their loss. It was the 10-3 disgusting loss against the Pats in Gillette. And then the first matchup was in Metlife where they lost 22-17. He threw 3 picks in that game. Did throw for his first 300-yard game, but it was kind of garbage time. They would have led 17-3 if they didn't have this awful roughing the passer call. By the way, the Jets haven't got a roughing the passer call. I think it was October of 2021. Absolutely bananas, absolute bullshit. But anyway, this is going to be an uphill battle. And, Wilson may struggle against this Patriots defense, but Mac Jones isn't much better against this Jets defense. And this is props to Will Parkinson. The Jets had the Jets gave it 1 offensive touchdown and had 12 sacks in 2 games last year against the Patriots. Their defense absolutely dominated. These will be featuring 2 really good defenses and 2 really bad offenses in pass coverage. Perhaps they are the bottom 2. Jets 32, Patriots at 31 throughout the first 2 weeks in pass coverage. Pass blocking, sorry. So very poorly, in terms of pass block. And not to mention both of these front sevens are very good. So it's going to be ugly. It's going to be an ugly game. It's supposed to rain, just pour that on top of things. It's going to be a super low scoring game. Like the over-under is 37 right now. Disgusting. And it's probably going to hit easily. This is going to be a gross, but old school smash mouth game. And this is where the Jets want them. The Jets need this game a lot. So let's go into the key matchup here. My key matchup is really just the coaches. So it's Nathaniel Hackett versus Bill Belichick. So Bill Belichick's defense versus Nathaniel Hackett on offense. And yes, on paper, this isn't even a fair matchup. The spread would be -50. This is not a fair matchup on paper. But, Nathaniel Hackett really has to dial in and put together a really good game plan and really try to somehow catch this defense, guessing. Don't want to be predictable because Bill Belichick will dial it up and absolutely dominate you if you run a predictable offense. It might have to become pretty predictable at some part of the game, especially if it rains and if you having success at the run, keep going, run it 30, 40 times if you have to. But he's going to have to mix some things in here. And I said this last week that I think the Jets should really get creative. They did a little bit on that punt on 4th down against Dallas, but I want to see more. I want to see more creativity on the offensive side, maybe a trick play, maybe an off-scripted play, something in the terms of creativity, because I mean, they weren't even close being creative last week against the Dallas Cowboys. So that's really my matchup here. Bill Belichick has dominated Zach Wilson. He has dominated the New York Jets, and any quarterback, whether it's Darnold or Fitzpatrick or Geno Smith or Zach Wilson or Mike White, you name it. I mean, every shitty Jets quarterback that went Bill Belichick's way, he has dominated. So I need something from Nathaniel Hackett. He needs a big rebound. And of course, Bill Belichick's going to bring his A game, and he knows he has Zach Wilson by the throat, essentially, over the first 4 games. They've just been terrible. But, who's to say that Zach can't bounce back and have a pretty decent game and not turn over the ball and lead the Jets to victory? It could be possible, but it's going to be make or break here. It's the Jets have to score, and the Jets have to start off quickly, and it's all going to depend on what Nathaniel Hackett does on the offensive side. I really hope he rebounds from last week. I was very furious of that play calling. I know a lot of people were. Yes, it's hard when your defense, and I've said this is now the third video in a row, that it's hard when the defense can't get off the field, especially on third downs. But the game plan just has to be better. Like, we're not bailing him out because just the defense. Like, you don't get a bailout here. They were flat out bad as well on offense, and it all started with the play calling. So if he wants a chance at this game, he has to at least compete with Bill Belichick and his defense. I'm not saying he has to out-coach him. He just has to, be creative a little bit, catch him off guard. Because last year, those first 2 games, their offense moved the ball in the first game. Wilson just threw 3 picks and kind of had some boneheaded mistakes, but they did move the ball, especially in the first half. Had a couple big plays, especially to Garrett Wilson. I think Tyler Conklin had 2 touchdowns. Like I said, Zach threw for 300 yards. It's all going to be about not turning over the football. But, and then in the second game, it was just a brutal performance by LaFleur, by Wilson, by the whole offense, by everyone around him. So, of course, for Hackett too, he can't really control if his offensive line stinks. They have to protect Zach in some aspect. They might be without Dwayne Brown. He is questionable. He hasn't practiced the last 2 days. I'm not sure if he's going to play. They do have options. Who knows if they're great options? If he decides, or if they decide not to play him because of injury and he's unable to go. But that's definitely going to be a storyline to watch. So that's my key matchup. Key to victory. Last week, it was to win the turnover battle. This week is just give the ball to Breece Hall. Seriously. And I have been super vocal about how BS it was of Breece getting only 4 carries last week. And I know he was furious. I know fans were furious. Give Breece Hall the ball. I think he gives you your best shot, especially if we're looking at a game with I think it was 5 inches of rain, a 50 mile-per-hour winds. Supposedly, it's supposed to be disgusting out on Sunday at MetLife, really bad weather conditions. So it's going to be a super ugly game. It's going to probably be similar to the game back when they met in New England. It was the same thing. Terrible winds. There was multiple missed field goals. It was just a disgusting game. This might be as bad or even worse, especially given how good the defenses are and how questionable the offenses are, even though the Patriots offense have been improved, especially with the appearance of Bill O'Brien, the new offensive coordinator, and they don't have a freaking defensive coordinator and a special teams coordinator calling the offensive plays anymore, and Joe Judge and Matt Patricia. That was insane. They actually have an adult and an actual play caller. So their offense has improved, but this Jets pass rush is really, really good. It has to be better. It wasn't good last week. They didn't get to Zach enough. Only had 1 sack from Solomon Thomas compared to the 5 sacks they had on Josh Allen the week before that. And they need to, not that they need 5 sacks, but you need to get in between. Give me at least 3 sacks against Mac Jones. Pressure him. As mentioned, this is the second worst pass blocking offensive line. Take advantage of that. And, I think this rotation is really going to confuse a poor offensive line. So you got to really just you have that opportunity on the defensive side to shut him down. Now give Breece Hall the ball, waste time, control the time and possession, create longer drives. And, I'm okay if they go 3 and out, if they try to establish the ball early. I'm okay with that. Stay consistent though. Keep doing it, because at some point you're going to wear out the defense. At some point you're going to keep your defense off the field and keep them fresh. If you have a fresh defense against this Patriots offense, I'm very confident. I don't even care if you have a 10-minute drive and you kick a field goal to open up the drive. Yes, you want touchdowns, but still, that is still key and valuable because you keep the defense nice and fresh, and then it's still pressure on the Patriots offense, even if it's 3-0. It's not an easy 3 points against this defense, especially a defense they have struggled mightily, especially over the last year, really when they went on the map with Saleh and Albert, because the 2 years ago, kind of a wash. They weren't really given much talent at all, but they have established talent and they have developed talent for sure on that side of the ball. But yeah, this all ties into Breece Hall. Like, he gives you your best shot. I want 20 carries. If he even gets 15 to 20, I won't be too crazy. 15 to 20 carries from Breece Hall. And I don't, if you have 15 to 20 and you can at least not turn over the ball, you should be in it. Like, there's no way that this should get out of hand. I don't think this game is going to get out of hand unless, something terrible goes wrong and they turn over the ball multiple times and give the Patriots short field and really just wear out the Jets defense in terms of just keeping them on the field again. But if they can establish the run and feed Breece and even feature, Dalvin Cook and heck, even a little MC, I don't know how you can just mark this up as a loss. I think the Jets could definitely be in this game. I definitely, obviously, you tie in Garrett Wilson too. You need to get him the ball. He had 8 targets last week, only 2 catches. You need to just set him up for, receptions. As simple as that. You need to get some, I guess, give him a chance. That's what I'm trying to say. Give him a chance because he didn't really have much of a chance. And he made it worth out of the 2 catches. He housed one for 68 yards, but you need to give him a chance on more balls. We need 6 to 7 or 8 receptions from Garrett Wilson. He had over 100 yards in the first performance. Second performance, very frustrated against the Patriots. He couldn't get him the ball. You have to get him the ball. As many targets as it takes. You need to at least give him 7, 8 chances of catching the football, and that's like 12 to 13 targets. Like, wear these corners out, because even if you establish the run, guess what? That's going to if they want to stack the box, do it. We dare you. Give them one-on-one with Garrett Wilson. That's basically what happened week 1. They ran a ton of 12 personnel because the Bills knew they were running, and when they got closer and closer to the end zone, Garrett Wilson got free, was able to get a couple receptions because he was getting manned. And he was getting manned by Tre'Davious White, one of the best corners in the league, and he was still having the opportunity for receptions. He was creating space, and, Zach did give him some opportunities for receptions. Of course, that touchdown was all Garrett. I mean, that was insane. But that's exactly what they need to do. Feeding Breece leads to single coverage against Garrett Wilson, and those are by far your 2 most talented players on the offensive side. So those 2 guys are going to win you the game. Especially if you don't turn over the ball and you're able to feed the best players on your team. Like, last week's a wash. It was tough. It was a terrible game. They couldn't get off the field, and they really couldn't establish a game plan. They couldn't establish the run. They couldn't even try to run the ball. It was just all bad. Start fresh, see what they can do. It all starts with Breece Hall, and then it leads to Garrett Wilson, and then hopefully it leads to a win. Prediction. So I picked the Jets to win in week 1. I picked the Cowboys to win in week 2. But I only picked the Cowboys by 8. Not really a great pick. Still picked them to lose. Still picked the Jets to lose, but I thought the Jets were at least going to cover the spread. The spread in this one is the Jets given 2.5 points at home. This is tough. The Patriots are their kryptonite. 14 games. Like, this has to end, right? Like, the Patriots are 0-2. The Jets are 1-1. They play the Chiefs next week. Nothing better if you can win this game, go 2-1, 2-0 in the division, and put the Patriots at 0-3. That would be absolutely massive. Huge. So this would be super key if the Jets can close this one out. So my prediction, I'm going to go with
Jets. I hear them say it now.
Jets white green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight. White green.